The individuals now, you see the knights on the side of the steps, they align on the side of the steps, and Haile Selassie and the Queen's mother comes out. Now you will notice that they don't have on their hats. Is it because it's very windy? Nah, this is not how this goes at all, my brothers and sisters. This is ceremony, and this is an order. Only the women have on their hats. You can see the Queen and the Queen's mother with their hats. And looking good. You will see that obviously the real knights, the soldiers, them in the armored knights, I should say, in them old time Roman armored vibes, have on their headpiece. Now you will notice that as soon as Haile Selassie I puts on his headpiece, check it. It is only when Haile Selassie I put on his headpiece, you could see the guards in the back putting on their headpiece. Look at that. Nothing here is by mistake. This is not just happening by chance. The knights cannot put on their hats. Prince Charles doesn't put on his hat. In fact, it is when Prince Charles enters the buggy that you see Prince Charles put his hat on his head, and then they roll out. Now what is happening here? Greater than Solomon is here. You may not see that, but they understand what's going on. So this is why I'm saying that even from the time of the King Edward III, and that third is very mystic, King Edward and his son, the Black Prince, Prince Edwards, the Black Prince, Prince Edwards, the Prince of Wales, interesting language. And now the current Prince of Wales is Prince Charles. Prince Charles Edwards, Charles Edwards, the Black Queen. What is this? Don't play around with it. Don't touch. Subscribe to the Mystic Vibration Shock of the Hour program today and receive our nightly show immediately after each and every broadcast. This will be done via the email and will be found in your inbox. For the small price of only 50 United States dollars, you will receive almost 20 hours of raw information, knowledge, research, and scholarship on various subject areas and topics that are necessary to be addressed at this time. In addition, all subscribers will receive our monthly video lecture series, which has a value of 20 United States dollars. They will receive the video lecture for free that is related to the month that they are subscribing for. To subscribe, call or WhatsApp 1268-728-3162 or email priestisaac27@gmail.com. The Mystic Vibration is a program that is every Monday to Thursday at 6 p.m. sharp Eastern Caribbean time on Radio Anu, radioanu.com. Blessed love once again, as we definitely do give thanks for the life giver and the keeper of life in all doings and saying. Remember now, you are now into the shock of the hour. Honorable Priest Isaac here with you. And remember, as I said, we will be going into the whole mystic of the geometry of music. And I will be also entitling this why do some Rastas burn fire on reggae music? You know, and let me just say, not only are we doing this live and direct for the Shock of the Hour right here on Radio Anu, we will definitely be putting this on the Mystic Vibrations YouTube version. Of course, you know, we definitely our YouTube channel. So I'm just asking everyone on YouTube, please don't be too quick to put no dislikes and no thumbs down on my video. That is just the title. That's how we move, eh? When we see something that we don't like, we don't even wait to hear it, and we just start to thumbs down. I know exactly what I'm saying. Even if you put up a video and it's about, you know, something sad, maybe a little girl was molested or something, or somebody was, you know, gunned down, and we put up a video like that, man, people thumbs down you. It's not as if it's not that it's you they're thumbs down in you. They're just trying to show that they're saddened and they dislike what was done to the little girl, or they dislike what was done to the little boy. But you thumbs down in the video ain't gonna help the message to get out at all. You know, that's the point I'm making, you know. So don't be quick to thumbs down. I'm just answering a question. In fact, for the last few programs, I've been answering questions. You know, these are questions that people literally ask me, you know. So, as I said, I'm not going to stay too long on that. We'll get to that. But the sacred geometry, the mystic of geometry within music, that is something that I want to definitely touch upon. Now, if you noticed a few evenings ago on the Mystic Vibration, we were highlighting the audio of a specific documentary dealing with the whole aspect of the frequency and the cycle per second aspects and the sacred numbers and all of these different things. And of course, those of you who were listening, you would remember, and of course, those who are subscribers will definitely have the information already in their own inbox. Now, one of the numbers that stood out was 432. And 432 is very important when it comes to the whole aspect of creation, because I'm sure we comprehend that creation itself is more than just Shazam. Creation is more than just Alakazam and let there be light. Yes, let there be light, but within the let and the there and the be and the light, there's a lot of mathematics. There's a lot of geometry specifically, you know, involved. So everything is mathematics, even the words that you speak, you know, the syllables, everything is addition, subtraction, division, multiplication. It's mathematics. So obviously the same thing can be said as it relates to music, sound, even thought, you know. Now, before we go into the depths of this, my good family, as I said, this is the Mystic Vibration. This is the Shock of the Hour. And I'm going to be bringing forward some of that documentary that I highlighted a few programs ago. But this time we'll be directly commenting on it, just to highlight a few points as we advance this reasoning or discussion here. So I'm going to go straight into the documentary here. In the 6th century. Hold on, brother, you're moving too fast. I'm going to go straight into the documentary here. You are going to take it in as well as myself, and certain key points I will highlight, and we move on with the discussion. All right. So the language of frequency now and the sacred geometry. This is the documentary here. Yes, so you were saying in the 6th century
BC, on the Greek island of Samos, the famed mathematician Pythagoras led a school of thought that married philosophy, mathematics, music, and of course geometry. And while Pythagoras did not discover advanced geometry, he did apply it in new ways, especially to music. For instance, he noticed that when a tauten string was plucked, it would create a tone. And when that string was divided in half, it would make the same tone, only twice as high in pitch. Pythagoras then came up with numerical ratios based on harmonic fifths, and this led to the creation of the musical scale found at the root of most modern music. It is important to note that according to Pythagoras, all musical notes were found by using mathematics, and as such were given number values according to their placement in a kind of master grid. For instance, by using fifths beginning from note number 1, he was eventually guided to note 27. And to find the same note twice as high in pitch, he simply kept doubling it to 54, 108, 216, 432, and so on up the scale. If you've ever heard of Pythagorean tuning, you know that the number 432 is quite important. To Pythagoras himself, it probably wouldn't have stood out more than any other in his numerical grid. But in our quest to find a universal language based on mathematics and frequency, this particular note represents a significant piece of coincidental evidence. You see, many ancient musical instruments, from Tibetan bowls to Native American flutes, happen to produce the same tone, a tone that vibrates at 432 cycles per second.
Now, give thanks and praises once again, Mystic Vibration. This is Radio Anu, radioanu.com. You know, it is the international flavor, the universal spice. So, a frequency of 432. And I don't know if you could pick up what the narrator was saying clearly there. He's saying that we have evidence that the ancient Tibetan bowls and the ancient flutes and other instruments, the drums of the Dogons and the different instruments that are used in Senegal and that the griots use, they all have that frequency, that vibration of 432, and we're dealing with cycles per second, 432 within their frequency. Quite interesting, and I think I'll be doing this whole video that I'm doing a great injustice if I don't make it be very clear to my audience that no matter what he's saying about Pythagoras, just like the rest of the Europeans that were given the titles of father of history and father of geometry and father of this and father of that, these fathers learned from the fathers in ancient Kush. Everything you see they come and speak about from the Ebers, papyrus to whatever else have been stolen. Some of them were stolen literally, information. They were not even given these information. Some of them they literally snuck in and stole them and ran out, and republished them and called it their own. And that's just the fact. So, because obviously, I think it is impossible that we're going to attribute the understanding of the number 432 to someone 600 or 500 years BC, when 432 can be seen even within the construct of the pyramid. And the pi, of course, pi and epsilon and all of these things can be seen in the construct of the Great Pyramid and many other monuments, internationally that have been there for thousands and tens of thousands of years. So we got to really get that out of our mind frame, because we are sent to school for this, so we can learn about Pythagoras, and we attribute all the aspects of geometry, maybe not sacred geometry, but at least two-dimensional geometry and three-dimensional geometry. We like to give all aspects and all praises and honor to Brother Pythagi, but hey, I'm trying to show you that we understood that science. That's the science of creation. That was nothing to us, in a past time. So it's good to comprehend that, as we flow, and so you don't, keep heaping praises on Christopher Columbus for discovering anything.
That's compelling, but even more intriguing is the fact that Pythagoras was not calculating vibration cycles to find tone 432. It just happens to be the same number. What's more, for decades, most modern musical instruments were also tuned to this same fourth octave A, with a value of 432 cycles. How could this be? Who chose this particular note as the keystone for instrument tuning? And more importantly, why? Here's where a deeper mystery begins to emerge.
Instrument tuning. So I'm sure you could see where we are. Remember, that's what we're speaking of. The sacred sound, the sacred geometry within music. All right. And we're still answering the questions that some people want to know.
And to explore it, we will need to go back to Pythagoras' other passion, geometry. It is not an exaggeration to say that to Pythagoras and his disciples, geometry and math held a key to the nature of all life everywhere, and maybe it does. Let's look at the first four geometric shapes, the circle, triangle, square, and pentagon. In each of them are angles of degrees that when added together, always total a specific number relative to that particular shape. For instance, if we take a triangle, the sum total of all three interior angles is always 180. For both the square and circle, it is 360. For a pentagon, it is 540. Now at this moment, let's step back and look at these numbers in a different way, as there seems to be something about them that reaches beyond a simple sum of angles. Did you notice that they happen to be in the same numerical neighborhood as tone 432? What's more, they all add up to 9, just like 432. As an experiment, let's take a look at the numbers found in basic geometric shapes, then apply those numbers as vibration cycles to hear the tones they produce.
Now, before we go into all of that, before we go into that, just for a clarity of what was said so far, because I want to make sure my audience is with me. All right, so we're dealing with geometry here, and again, a heap of praise is going to Pythagoras, but we know better. So we're dealing with these sacred shapes, triangle and square and circle and all of these shapes. I mean, yes, you may think that these are just baby shapes and learn the shapes and rectangle and all of that. But this is science. This is the ancient science. So when you have a triangle now, the triangle, the circle and the square, plus the pentagon. Now, very important, because the triangle now, the angles of the triangle, the three angles, they would add up to 180, no matter how, whether it's a, what you call it, an equilateral triangle or an isosceles triangle, whatever the case is, you're going to get 180 degrees. Okay, this is very important. Let's follow me here. Now, a square plus a circle, or a square and a circle, both of them carry the 360 degree in its fullness, 360 degrees. The square itself, the angles of the square, the four angle, 90 degree, they would add up to 360 degrees. And this is why in boxing and in wrestling, you would always hear them speak of the squared circle. The circle and the square, even in the great pyramid, the Merkut, you see, it's, yes, the base of it is a square with comprehension, and it's still a triangle, but yet still you could understand the circle within it, as you can see continually the circumference and pi and the diameter and the radius. I'm speaking of specifically the Great Pyramid of Giza, the Great Pyramid of Khufu. All right, so with this understanding, the squared circle, I'm just showing you the science. And then of course you have the pentagon, and the sides of the pentagon, the angles of the pentagon, pardon me, would give you 540 degrees. So basically what you have there is like 5 times 180, and keep it in mind that 180 degrees is exactly what you get from a triangle. I hope you are with me. And now the science of all of that is that within these numbers here, of these geometric shapes, you've got, I consider them sacred shapes as well. You know, the 180 of the triangle, 1 plus 8 is 9, and the 0 is 9, and the 360 of the square and the circle, both of them carry 360. The 3 plus the 6 is 9, plus the 0, you still have 9. And then even the pentagon with its 540, you know, the 5 plus the 4 is still 9 again, you know. So, okay, that's nice. Some pretty, you know, gymnastics there. So where are we going with all of this? So now what we have the different shapes, these 4 shapes specifically. and their angle, the angles and the sum of their angles being very important, as we will utilize the number now to produce a sound, the numbers specifically of the angles to produce the specific sounds that we are dealing with. So what we're going to do again, let us follow the narrator with an understanding of where we are.
As an experiment, let's take a look at the numbers found in basic geometric shapes, then apply those numbers as vibration cycles to hear the tones they produce. First, let's listen to what the 180 total degrees contained in a triangle sound like.
So we are applying these numbers for the vibration thereof, you know, because now this is really the science we want to make clear as we enter into this realms.
Then apply those numbers as vibration cycles to hear the tones they produce. First, let's listen to what the 180 total degrees contained in a triangle sound like. And here's a square.
So what you heard is how the 180 degree of the triangle would sound like. And now you're going to hear the sound of the square.
Squares and circles 360 in cycles per second.
Cycles per second.
A perfect octave up from the triangle. What about the pentagon at 540?
Pentagon 540.
That sounds like a harmonic fifth of the other two.
We move on.
That's interesting. What are these tones? They are F sharp and its perfect harmonic fifth of C sharp. Let's keep going. What does a hexagon 720 sound like?
6 sides.
Another F sharp. Here's a 7-sided septagon, which totals 900. This is an A sharp, which happens to be the note required to complete an F sharp major chord in perfect 3-part harmony. And finally, the octagon, where we get 1080, another C sharp. Suddenly, geometry is expressed by tones, and these tones just happen to create the most beautiful form of music, a perfect 3-part major chord in the key of F sharp. Is this something we've been missing for years? Is it important? To the famous philosopher and mathematician Plato, the answer would have been a resounding yes. For it is Plato who advanced the study of 2-dimensional geometry into 3-dimensional geometry, and who began to recognize that nature, whether expressed as a tone, the petal design of a flower, or the spiraling design of a seashell, seemed to follow a 3D mathematical pattern.
Okay, before we continue there, as you can see, trying to give all credit to somebody else there now, so Plato is being, yeah, let's big up Plato now. Okay, so basically, let's just be clear where we are. So what you had, you heard for yourself what you would consider the vibration specifically of the angles, the shapes, the sound they would make when you substitute their angle for the frequency of the vibration per second. So when you comprehend all of that, so you heard the sounds of the 180, and the 180 represented the triangle. And then you heard the square or the circle, which both of them would be 360. Then you heard the pentagon, which was 540. Now I'm sure there are many ones in my audience that are musicians. And if you're not a musician, like professional, at least maybe you know some little thing. I myself, I can play the piano to some degree, so obviously I have a clear understanding of what is being said here. And obviously if I did not go through that, I would still have done my study to comprehend what it is. So the point I'm making is that the science is very deep once you can adapt to the language. If you can get what I'm saying, good. Because listen, remember the vibration given by the square was a F sharp. Now the science is not the square, the triangle. The science is now, because the triangle is first, and the circle and the square was like a perfect octave up from the triangle. So we're dealing with F sharp. You know, octave, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So that's an octave. You know, it's really 7 notes, but octave brings you back to the original notes. That's what you call an octave, 8. You know, that, and that whole science is very deep. That whole science of the 8th day. When you read the book of Enoch and some of these books, it speaks about the 8th day. Yeah? So very deep, the 7 and the extra, which is really the beginning. It begins at the cycle again. You know, that's even if you, as Bobo Shanti, we check the science. If you've really checked it out, how mystic it is the second priest that really, you know, begin with the opening hymn, and it is the first priest that bring it down, almost like an 8th cycle again, because the 8 is the cycle of infinity. So the octave, the 8 ohms that the earth vibrates on. So here we got again the 8, the octave, because you know 8 is the only number outside of a 0 that you could just put pen to paper and draw the 8 and draw it and draw it and draw it and never stop drawing it until maybe you tear the paper. You know, any other you know number, you start and you stop. You start at 2 and you stop. You start at 1 and you stop. It comes to an end. But the 8. So I'm just showing you now. So the triangle was an F sharp, as you would have heard. And then when you use the cycle, and the triangle is 180, keeping in mind the numbers, and when you use the sum total of the angle of the square or the circle, which is 360, we've gone a perfect octave up. Perfect octave. So now we're counting in numbers, because the pentagon at 540 now gives you the harmonic 5th of the C sharp. Still dealing with the rudiments of music. Now, if you notice, we also brought into the conversation the hexagon, which is a 6-sided figure, and the septagon, we go on 7 sides, and the octagon. And unless you have one of them super, you know, memory, it will be good that you at least be jotting down some notes to really follow along with the comprehension of what we're saying here. Because the hexagon now, when we continue with the experiment, the hexagon returns you back to the F sharp again. And remember the hexagon for clarity, the hexagon is 720 as far as the angles. So the 6 angles of the hexagon would add up to 720. So that's like 6 multiplied by 120 would give you the 720, if I'm correct. Yeah, the 720 of the hexagon. And then now, and that's an F sharp. And then the septagon, which is, listen to this, 7 sides, and that gives you a total of 900 degrees, 7 or 9. Listen to the science. The septagon gives you a total of 900 degrees. So that's 7 times 128. 128.4. Yeah, that's the septagon for each angle. So you have a full 900, and the sound that gives is A flat, which according to the science is what is needed to give a perfect harmony of an F sharp major chord for all you musicians out there. So in the completion of that, you actually have a 3-part major chord in F sharp when you complete everything with the octagon, because the octagon now, which is 8 side, gives a total of 1080, and these are some mystic numbers. 1080, which is like what you would say 8 times 135. That means each angle would be 135 for the octagon, giving you the perfect 1080 as far as the degrees for the octagon. And that would give you the vibrational sound of a C sharp. And there you have in these sacred shapes the 3-part major chord in F sharp. And this is just done by taking these shapes from the triangle again, the square or the circle, the pentagon with its 5 sides, then the 6-sided hexagon, the septagon, and the octagon, and then you have these figures, the F sharp again, and then you jump again to the full octave F sharp again when you deal with the square and the circle, and then with the pentagon you go up a harmonic fifth to C sharp, and then the hexagon you're back at F sharp again. And this is the mystic. Then the septagon now, 7 sides, 7 or 9, 900 degrees. You go on to an A sharp. And then the octagon, he gives you a C sharp, and you have a 3-part major chord in F sharp. Now remember, we're dealing with sacred geometry here. We're dealing with the petals of the flower. Listen good. We're dealing with the vibration of the honeybee wings. That's what we're dealing with, you know. We're dealing with the speed of light. That's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with gravity. We're dealing with the distance of the moon from the earth, all within what I just explained to you. It is all about harmony. It is all about the science. So when you take now, there's a specific figure known as the flower of life. And this flower of life can be seen, well, you can see it all over the ancient world. And when we do this, when we put this on the YouTube, we put up a flower of life. And the flower of life, it's like in the pattern of 6 concentric circles. So there's an ancient temple in Kemet, the Osirian. Some people say it's the temple of Osiris. And that specific flower of life symbol can be seen in the Osirian. Now, many of you know the symbol. Many of you have adapted yourself to that symbol, and it is said to be the symbol of creation. And from that very same symbol, you could bring out the tetrahedron, and you could also, I think, see the pattern of the whirlwind and the pattern of the galaxies, and you can also use that design. That is the design, the same flower of life and the tetrahedron, and that same science that has been used to create free energy, no electrical energy from the electrical company. Now we're dealing with free energy, so this is even deeper than, well, I would not say deeper, but it's another level beyond just the Fibonacci series of numbers and the cycle in the petal of the flowers, and all of that is some deep stuff as well, the ram's horn and the conch shell. You see that specific, the same cycle you see in the spiral and all of these things. So it's all related and interrelated. Now, but the science is, I would not be playing you the sounds at the moment, but you just heard for yourself the F sharp, when you utilize the square, the 90-degree angles of the square, that gives you 360. Again, it's the same F sharp that you get when you utilize, the angles, not the angles, when you utilize the 360 of the circle. The circle don't really have any angles, unless it's one big angle. I don't know what you'd want to call it, but it's 360 degrees. So what you have, when you use that same pattern, the sound, the whole science of the sound and the numbers that we just did, that I'm sure you have a clear comprehension what was just done with the different shapes and how they produce their individual sounds and frequencies specifically, and how they're related and interrelated, and how they form a perfect expression of nature. That's deep. Now we're going to use the circle and do something similar and show to you exactly what is being expressed. Now this same flower of life with its 6 circles basically, or 6 petals, and it gives this formation, and You know, it just grows and grows. It's like an infinite expression of creation, the same flower of life that is seen in the Osirian. You can also see it on different monuments, the food dogs, and all the food dogs, them dragon-looking lions with their hand, their paw on the ball. Many of these balls in front, like right here in Antigua, in front of the Prime Minister's office, you got one of them big food dogs with these palms on the ball, and it's the same Osirian on it. So it's something that is used very widely in the Freemasonic world, obviously. So the 360 of the circle, it gives that F sharp, right? Now when you add the second circle, so we're building the flower of life. When you add the second circle, you get another F sharp perfect octave up. Why? Because now you have 720. So these two circles give you 720 degrees. That's why you hear people like Brother Malachi York. You'd hear Brother Malachi York clearly tell you that, well, he's up, he's 720 degrees. You know what I mean? He ain't got 1 degree, 2 degree, and he's more than 360. He's 720. That's two circles. So when you get the sound from the 361 circle, if I have it right, that's the F sharp. So when you add the 720, when you add the other circle, pardon me, you have 720 now in fullness. Two circles, 720. It goes up a perfect octave to another F sharp. And then you add a third circle, which is another 360 added to the 720. But this time you get 1080. 1080, and that carries you a harmonic fifth to a C sharp, and that obviously gives you another tone, and that's very mystic. Remember the harmonic fifth of the C sharp. Now the C sharp was the sound that we got from the octagon, and remember the octagon also has a sum angle of 1080, 1080, but we're not speaking of the octagon here. We're dealing with three circles now. This is deep. Now three circles, a trinity of circles here, expressing the combined degrees of 1080, and 108 itself is very mystic. That's the size of Anu. 1080, 1080, and it gives you the harmonic fifth from the 720 to C sharp. And then the fourth circle now gives you a full addition of 1440 degrees, and that carries you to the next F sharp. And 1440 alone, obviously you can look at it and you see the 144 and the 144,000 elect. I mean, that alone stands out because 144,000 is the amount of the tiles, the golden tiles that were on the face of the pyramid, the Marakut, 144,000 of them that was stolen by the Arabs to build Cairo. And remember also, when you comprehend 144,000 elect children of light mentioned in the Bible, and remember the speed of light, although it's approximately 186,000 miles per second, yet still when it travels in a circle, which is really how it travels if it goes around the earth, specifically we're speaking of 144,000 minutes of arc per second. That's the speed of light. All right. 1,440 is the fourth circle, and that's F sharp. And then the fifth circle, with 360 obviously, we carry us now to 1,800, and we have a sharp, pure sharps here. And how mystic it is that when we come to the sixth circle, the full addition of the angles within this flower of life is 2,100 260, and we come back to a C sharp. Now mystical, both, remember the cube, that is now the square with obviously the 6th side, and the flower of life both carry the frequency of 2160 as it relates to the degrees. So the sound pattern in nature will be the same. I hope you're with me. Please don't fall asleep. I hope you ain't saying, man, this one ain't out too hard. I want to hear something. I want to hear you argue with the flat earth people, man. No, man, come on. What are you talking about? Let's keep this thing real. Let's keep this thing educational. We're dealing with life and death here. Everybody listens to music. We're dealing with life and death here. So if you're serious about information and knowledge, just give your brother a chance and let me flow. We're not going to stay forever. We're soon done. I'm showing you that the cube and the flower of life both carry, obviously, the full angular degree of 2160. And look at the mystic. If you take the 0 from the 2160, you get 216. And 216 is half, exactly half, the amount of that sacred number that we began with, 432. Coming forward to that. Now 260, many of you would obviously know that 260 is specifically the time span in years for an age. If we're going to deal with the full precession of the equinox, we're dealing with 2,160 years for an age. So as you hear people speaking of from the Pisces age to the Aquarius age, well, an age is officially 2,160 years. That is the time span of an age. So it is very mystic now that you could see this. Listen to the science I'm bringing down to you. It's very mystic that you see the 2,160 in the cube. In the cube. Cubism. And the same thing in the flower of life with the 6 concentric circles. That's the flower of life we're dealing with, and we're dealing with the cube. 2,160. And the 2,160, as I said, is that what they call the great month by the Olmecs, which is the, as I said, the time gap in years from one age to the other. 2,160 in miles is also the diameter of the moon as we observe it. 2,160 miles. So listen to that science, and again I'll repeat, when you take out the 0, you have 216, which is half of 432. And remember, the 432 as a sacred number is the frequency that has been expressed in all the ancient instruments that the scientists have come across, from the basin, the water basin that sing out the songs in Tibet, and the flutes of the Hopi and the different, if you want to call them Indians, the drums of the Africans, the Dogans, our Nyabingi drums, the 8 ohms, the frequency, seconds per cycle, 432. Okay. Now listen to this. Remember now. So now that we have 2,160, I'm going to show you something here. Now that we have 2,160, because it's deep. If you divide it by 2, you would get 1,080. If you divide it by 2, you get 1,080. All right. So what? What do you mean, so what? 1,080, first of all, was the third circle that gave you the C sharp. that carried you a fifth from the F sharp from the 720 circle, which was the second circle in the flower of life. 1080 is also the octagon. So this is what I'm showing you. Take the 2160 of the cube, the 2160 of the flower of life. Let's break it down. Divide it by 2. You have 1080. You have the octagon. You divide it by 3. You have 720. You have the hexagon. Wow. You divide it by 4. You have 540. You have the pentagon. And if you divide it by 5, you have 432. Not directly aligned with any of these shapes here. 432. And if you divide it by 6, you get the 360, obviously, which is the square and the circle. And we're still dealing with the 2160. So as you could see, divide by 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. You get the octagon, you miss out the septagon. You miss out the septagon. Not no Decepticon or Decepticon. This is not Transformers. When you divide by 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 2160, which again is the great month from one age to another age. The 6th circle in the flower of life, the full angle of the cube. Again, very important, the diameter of the moon in miles across, obviously. Divide by 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, you get the octagon. You miss out the 7. This is science. This is what Masons drool out of their mouth for. You miss out the 7. You divide by 3, you go on to the 6, the hexagon. You divide by 4, you go on to the 5, the pentagon. And when you divide by 5, you get 432. And mystically, when you divide by 6, you get the square, which is the 4 side, and the circle. 432. You know 432 multiplied by 2 is 864. 864. And 864,000 miles is the diameter across of the sun. So the sun diameter across 864,000 miles. 864,000 miles across is the diameter of the sun. And 864 is double 432. And as I just showed you, that 432, half of that is 216. And when you add a 0 to that, you get the diameter across of the moon. And that's why I said in a video that I just did, just sealing up the flat earth talk, I gotta say, that is a distraction. Could you imagine you lost in that whole philosophy there? You'd never understand this harmonic science that I'm bringing out, because you go, oh, the sun and the moon the same size, and oh, it's spinning around, and oh, da 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 da. And of course, as I said, I didn't deliver anything with no contempt to no one. I even asked if anyone could, explain the circumpolar stars, and those of you, you could go on the same video and read the comments. I don't take none of them down. And it's sad to see that some people still don't get it. People calling me all kind of names. And all I did was explain. You cannot literally explain what I explained, You cannot debunk it or reverse it to prove that the earth is nothing but what it is. And it's not flat. And the sun is 93 million miles away according to the Great Pyramid. And the diameter of it is 864,000 miles across. And we knew all of this. We didn't have to use no instrument. We understood nature, and we understood geometry, and we understood mathematics. And this is why we knew all of this. So when Plato and Aristotle and what's the other one there, Pythagoras, all of this that they discover, and Isaac Newton and all of them, they didn't discover nothing. This is what they learned from us and pretended as if they were the innovators of the knowledge when they're just 2,000 and in some cases even 500 years old. When we've been here for tens of thousands of years on this level of science, as far as what we have discovered can show. And I'm showing you science. I could say we've been here millions of years too, but I'm just trying to keep it proper in the ballpark so nobody can try to say I don't know what I'm saying, because I'm right on point. Circumpolar stars, man. Don't make no funny comment. Explain yourself if you can. It's sad. It just shows me that we're not serious about knowledge. We just want to argue. Just come on. You don't have to get so rude. Wow, we're really sick. I'm telling you. Ras, we have 86,400 seconds a day. In the day. 86,400 seconds in the day. 864. That's the sun. The diameter across of the sun is 864,000 miles across. 864. So we have 86,400 seconds a day, meaning that on a perfect day, we have 43,200 seconds per day and per night. 43200. 432. 432. That same number 432 is the only known whole number that when you square it, it comes perfectly. Actually, it comes, I think, within, if I'm not mistaken, 0.1 of the speed of light. As far as accuracy, 432, when you square it, you get 186,624. The speed of light from that same 432. And you know how we measure time. If we use that 60 of the time, you know, the 60 seconds per minute and the 60 minutes per hour, and you use it against the great clock. What's the great clock? What did we call the great clock and the great time bearer? The precession of the equinox. That's 25,920. The precession of the equinox is 25,920. Now 25,920 into the 60. When you break it down, you get over the 60. You get 432. This is the precession of the equinox by what we measure time with. 60 seconds and 60 minutes and all of that. This is very serious. So this is why when you observe that same 144,000, when you divide it by 432, you get 333.33333 into infinity. 333, check them trinity there. When you divide 144,000 by 432, you get 333.3333333 into infinity. You check what I'm saying. So when you see these masons now, and like on the dollar bill, you have the 13 arrows in the eagle's talon, and the other talon has the what you call that stuff, the olive branch with the 13 berries and the 13 leaves, and the shield on his chest with the 13 stripes, and you have in his mouth the scroll with the 13 letters and all of this kind of 13 and 1776, and the 7 and 6 is 13. They know what they're doing. Even the pyramid has the 13 courses, because 13 times 33.3 is 432.9. Wow. That's a lot that you've been saying there about 432. And it was obvious that we said more than 432. But how did we begin this program? How did we begin this talk about 432? The first thing that I think we highlighted about the 432 before we even got into the mystics of it, and let me just explain, this is why we had to break down for those who are just coming in, well, you got to get this on a rerun, and we might put it on we will put this on the YouTube, and of course, I'm sure you know, you could definitely subscribe to the Mystic Vibration. All you got to do is subscribe, and for the monthly Mystic Vibration, and I would even put in this program here for you whenever you subscribe, if you request this specific program. And that's another thing, you know, when you subscribe, you can request a program that you think you want to hear again. I'm sure many ones may want to go over this again, and as I said, it will be on the YouTube anyway, so it will be still there for your, you know, taking in. So that is why we had to go through the shapes, the angles, the sounds, the flow of life, the cube, you know, to bring you to that 2160, to break down that 432 for you, you know, to you know, the different levels of comprehension, the different shapes, the octagon, the septagon. You know, I hope you took in with understanding the science when the septagon wasn't there, and the 432. You know, remember, all of them still add up to 9. So all of this is just about science. And remember, we began by saying the frequency of music. Are you listening? The known frequency of music. Natural music. Natural sounds. The natural redeem. That's what it's called, the redeem. The rhythm, redeem. It is supposed to redeem you. That natural energy, science, the drums and the ancient order, the Tibetan bowls, the flute of the ancient people of the Hopi, the sound that it gave out was of the frequency of 432. Now, today, the frequency of music, for one reason or the other, has gone to 440. Now, I know some of you know this. Even the radio stations, when they transferred into FM radio station, even that frequency went up. And I am almost, I don't want to say I'm scared, but just, you know, that's how we speak. To know what's going on with the sounds when it's coming through the internet. The point we're making here, my brothers and sisters, maybe unbeknown to you, there is a war against you in the music. Those that have attacked you and are attacking you, and the war and the attack is red hot. They understand everything and more as it relates to what I just explained. If they did not know that, they would not change the frequency of the music. And let me show you why the frequency has changed. Because all the musical instruments that we were speaking of before, that had the 432, don't forget 43,200 seconds in a day, 43,200 seconds in a night, when it's perfect equal. Don't forget that. The 432 was the frequency of all the ancient instruments. Remember, 432, when it's cut in half, is 216. Add the 0. We're talking about 2,160, the precession of the equinox, the great month of 2,160 years. In miles, the diameter of the moon. When you switch the 2 and the 1, you get 1,260. And when you check your history and prophecy, there was this gap, I think. It was either the gap, I think, when the Pope was taken down and the Pope was replaced again when they built up the Vatican or whatever. But there's a gap of 1,000 260 years. Just whenever you get the time, check it for yourself. And I don't want to mumble over it, but let me stick to the message at hand here. So there is a war. They understand the science. They know that 432, when you square it, you get the speed of light. So the ancient science of music, when you meet the monks in the Tibetan mountains and they're and the Tibetan bowls vibrating and the water and it makes a sound. When you pass the willow tree and you hear the whoo, whoo, that's the sound the willow tree makes. Give thanks to the young prince. The willow tree gives you that vibration, that same 432, because it's an instrument. When you're in the field and the blade, the grass, the stem of the grass stem that has blades on the stem, it breaks and it has that hollow. The wind blows through it and it gives the sound like the flute. In the meadows, that's music to the ears. Harmony, the vibration of nature. The Congo drums. As I said before, the flute and the specific instrument that the griot use in Senegal. Yeah. I know some of you know exactly what I'm speaking of. The name is really divorced from me for the moment. But the point I'm making is that music, before it was music, before music, because of the music. Oh yeah, read your Bible. Read your Bible. Or even the books that were taken out of the Bible. When you read the forgotten books of Eden and the books of Enoch, it speaks about the fallen angels. Like I think one of them name is Azrael. He was considered to be the master of music. And with his music, he would lead the people astray. And his music, remember Lemur, the continent that sank in the Pacific, is because of frequency and vibration. When you read the Maytals tablets, you see sunspot cycle and music that made sick, and it sank. It got sick because of the vibration and the redeem. So that's why modern day music, you hear them talk about the beat. How you being beaten? Oh, that's a nice beat there. Oh, beat you down. That's why you go to the club and you get beaten over your head at the club. So it's no longer a redeem. That's what music, so-called, is supposed to be. Something that redeems you. So they changed the frequency. Any modern day music you hold on to, brother. From jazz, hip hop, boogie woogie, reggae music, dance hall, what do you call them cowboy stuff? Country and western, it has been upped. The instruments alone, I'm sure it gone beyond 440. The instruments alone. Why do you think when you play heavy metal music to plants, over a period of time, it kills the plants? You could water them and give them sunshine, doesn't matter. It kills the plant. And when you play Nyabingi music to the plant, it brings the plant back to life. Frequency and energy. So it would be really crazy of us to pretend as if we don't understand that there's a science in music. It doesn't have nothing to do with what the artist is saying. There is a science in them keyboards. There's a science in them bass guitars and the electric guitars and some of them other instruments. Oh, don't talk about the rhythm box now. You see, that's another thing. That's another thing. So even when the culture was changed from the live band into a lot of the rhythm box and instrument and it was different. Now listen, at the moment, we're not speaking about the pace of the music, We're not speaking of the pace. It could be as slow can be. We're talking about the frequency that is exhibited. The 432. Holy Emmanuel I, Selassie I, Jah Rastafari. Now, as I was saying, this was just a question asked to me. Matter of fact, as I said, I'm in the mood to answer some questions. People have been asking me questions all the time. And, you know, like the video I did, why did Haile Selassie run to the Queen? That was the literal question. People ask me these questions. So I just said, let me just start to answer my questions. So why does some Rastaman bonfire and reggae music? Now, obviously I would like to explain, but if you're well in tune, or after all that I just said, even if I was to say, listen for part 2 tomorrow, because we're already over an hour, but we're going to continue. If I was to say, listen for part 2 tomorrow, I'm sure by tomorrow you could figure it out. I'm sure by tomorrow you could figure it out. Now, this is going to take a little time to, I ain't going to just finish right away. So just bear with your brother. There's a video on YouTube specifically now, entitled, I think it's entitled Death to Reggae, something like that, or Reggae is Dead, or something like that. Now it's basically a Bobo Shanti video, where it was taken at the headquarters, and you see some of the priests and prophets. I don't think any empresses in there. I think I can't remember, but anyway, yes. Empress Fire Mama was in that, man. And Empress Julie, oh my, give thanks, Empress Julie, I know you're with us. But they were, you know, putting a fire on the reggae, man, reggae. So I'm sure a lot of you have seen the video. If not, go and watch it, man. Reggae is Dead or Death to Reggae, something like that. But it is necessary for me to explain to, you know, the audience. I think this is very important. I think I myself have to address it. Yes. I myself have to address it. Yeah. I think I must address it. You know? Because as I said, you know, I am very concerned, you know, especially with individuals that follow my work and such. You know, so ones would have asked me. So I think Bobo Shanti does burn reggae, and obviously they would have heard me. I wouldn't say plain reggae guy, I don't play at all, but they would hear me expressing with whatever I do. The expression is made with different forms of music. So they want to know. So I think it is my duty, if you don't think it's your duty, it's my duty to give them an answer to the question that they ask. Now this is how I answer questions. You see all I just said for the hour? That's the first part of the answer. So when I say the rest of what I got to say, keeping in mind all that I said before, it makes the answer well understood, clear. I don't want to take too long with this. Now honestly, with all due respect, I don't think there's really any other Bobo Shanti at all. Remember, I have a radio station, you know. I own a radio station. You know, and even if I didn't own a radio station, I still, when I do what I have to do, I express myself a bit differently than anyone else. Even the things I say is different. So you just got to comprehend when it comes to me, you're dealing with a different person. You know, I don't think there's any other Bobo Shanti that I know that, you know, be playing no reggae music on no internet or anything. And I'm not talking about the entertainers, no disrespect to the entertainers, but as a Bobo Shanti myself, an official Congress member, you know, sometimes from outside it looks differently, but from inside, you know, I know who I'm talking about, and I mean, I'm not talking about the entertainers. All right. What I'm saying is this. People say Bobo Shanti born reggae. And that is true to some degree. But a lot of you need to understand the history. In 1997, I met Bongo Watu. I give thanks to that. Ras Bonagese. Now, when I met Ras Bonagese, I was already a Bobo Shanti, you know. I already accepted the order of King Emmanuel Charles Edwards. But I was green. I wasn't, you know, who I am. You know, I was green. You know, I think I had one white robe, and it wasn't even made the way as how the Bobo Shanti robe is supposed to be made. But whatever the case is, I was seeking, feeling my way through the dark. I didn't visit Bobo Shanti Hill as yet, nothing. So in Barbados, I met Ras Bonagese for the conference. And there was Bingi at Mount Carmel, and Bingi at another grounds. And Ras Bonagese, Bongo Watu, and Congo Rocky, and baby, my baby I, and Ma Ashanti, and IV, and all of them were there. You know? And coming from Antigua, the Antiguan contingent was there of the Nyabingi. Remember at that time, there was no Bobo Shanti in Antigua. So it's not to say I was schooled by no Bobo Shanti, nothing. I just, you know. So I even, there was a lot of connection with me and the Rastafari community here, which is mostly Nyabingi. So I went down to Barbados with that, not with the group, I went by myself, but I went to meet them, you know, to witness this thing that I'm coming into. Yeah, man. I think that's the first time I encountered any hot fire being thrown on reggae music. I hear man saying Bobo Bun Reggae. You never hear Bongo Watu talk. Bongo Watu Bun Bob Marley. You never hear Bonagese speak. You never hear the Nyabingi elders talk. You see, what has happened is that the individuals that are treading Nyabingi today have fallen off of the ways that the elders used to trod. Now, if you're Nyabingi, don't be upset with me. Don't get me, no. I know something you're ready to pull gun on me. Don't get upset with me. I'm just saying that what your elders portrayed, you ain't portraying it. I'm just saying as a collective. You may say, oh, well, we're advancing. Hey, we're all good. And I'm for advancement. I am for advancement. But I'm just trying to let the people understand that it is the Rastaman of the early days, those who we call elders, our patriarchs and matriarchs that we love so much, them is the one that was burning reggae music. Let me show you something. It wasn't exclusive alone to Prince Emmanuel. Let me show you something here. Even in Antigua, I never got that, because even who we call elders here in Antigua, they were little babies to Bonagese. Them man around here, them is children to Prince Emmanuel. So these Congorackians, so which is still a baby to who I just mentioned, Congoracki was still the elders of the elders around here. So even around here, every time they have a celebration, it's Nyabingi and reggae music. You have a big reggae speaker there, and reggae band come and play and all of that. And it was Nyabingi. So to me, I didn't really, I didn't pick it up. But when I hear the elders them talk, oh my goodness. Man, if you're not, what? If your heart not strong, and they bonfire that. And they tell you reggae is Satanism. Go and ask them. Go on any Nyabingi elder you can find. You don't have to go Bubba Hill. Go and find any ancient Nyabingi elder. Unless they have changed their ways, they will tell you, and even if they change their ways, they will tell you clear, in the early days, we never deal with that. Okay. Why the Bingi don't keep it up? I don't know. But what I could tell you about Bobo Shanti, this is the difference. Remember, Prince Emmanuel is not just an elder, you know. We see Prince Emmanuel as the standard bearer, the Melchizedek, the individual that comes with the priesthood order. I don't want to get too doctrinal and theological here, because somebody just said, Well, brother, Selassie is the only high priest. Selassie is Melchizedek. I never deny that. I don't want to get into that, man. Man, I'm a researcher, you know. I don't have the time for petty conversations. Go and read The Mysteries of Melchizedek by Y. Yoshi Lewis, man. I could change the whole subject here, but I'm trying not to. But let me just leave this one point. Go and read the Mystery of Melchizedek. It tells you about all these Melchizedek, one every 2,000 years, every 2,160 years. That's how I know in every dispensation a Christ must come. And it says in the 12th dispensation, that's what it says. 2 Melchizedek shall rise, one in the east, one in the west. The one in the east shall come and meet the one in the west who was living in the hills for 7 years. Count the time the Congress started to the time Haile Selassie visited 1960 and 6. 7 full years. And the Melchizedek from the east, which will be a king, shall bless the Melchizedek from the west, which obviously has some lesser status than him, because he blessing him, and he shall bring him out to the community as his priest. I don't want to go into the fullness, but the point is, according to them ancient scrolls, and your Dead Sea Scrolls, Dead Sea Scrolls and your Silver Scrolls, it talks about the Melchizedek meeting the Melchizedek. So come on. So I'm saying that Prince Emmanuel to us. I'm just showing you to us. If you don't check for that, I'm not trying to force that down your throat, but you know he's an elder, so I'm just trying to make a point to us. He is the Melchizedek. His words go there. He comes with the order. So that's why we dress this way. We didn't just make it up. That's why we perform the rites we perform. We didn't just make up all of these things. Sabbath, that's not just out of the Bible. And the way we keep the Sabbath and the colors we wear on what day and what we eat and don't eat is not just because of the Bible. It's because that man from Africa, who obviously has the Shanti prints on him, I'm telling you, in his ancient traditions. And I will say it, and whoever vexed, you can't tell me around. In his Obia and his voodoo tradition. Touch me now? Yeah. The ancient man here with you, right here with me, so I know you can't touch me. He's the Melchizedek, the black Christ. I feel away, man. It's all in love. That come and teach us that way, you know? So, I'm just saying that. So, yeah. So, when I went to Bobo Shanti Hill now, in 2000, remember, you know, I am an individual that from the time I took up Rastafari, from the very moment, like the day, I said I want to go on the radio and preach this. Yeah, from the day. And I went to ZDK, which is an ancient glyph for priest, Zadok, ZDK Zadok. There's a radio station here named ZDK, that's where I got my start. ZDK, Zadok, the priest. Oh yeah. And I went to ZDK and I got the work. I wouldn't say the job because nobody ever pay me, but I got the work. And I started the mystic vibration a Saturday evening, every Saturday night from 8 o'clock until midnight. And it's just different music and talk and Bible scripture, and I went down. You know, even when I was living in the hills, I would come out to the hills every after Sabbath, do the radio program back up in the hills. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So when I went to Jamaica now and I went to Bobo Hill, hey, I would go there with a heap of cassettes, you know. Yeah, man, I gonna make the Bobo them see the kind of works I do it, man. Yeah, man. Wow. Yes, Bobo Shanti. Yes, this is my works. What do you say, Bobo? Yeah, man, this is a cassette with, I do a radio program. Yeah? Yeah, I just play reggae music? Yeah, man. No, I don't listen to reggae music. Oh, Michelle. Oh, my, I could have. Man, if I was any clearer, you'd see me. The redness in Michelle. But you would like, no, Bobo, we don't really deal with reggae music, you know? Wow. I was doing this series. It was called Something with the Heavens, and I had this sky chart. Someone tell me, no, Bobo, Emmanuel the D with stargazers. I say, wow. As you can see, I haven't stopped gazing at the stars up to now. Because Priest Harris said, I met Priest Harris up there. That's before he passed on. Priest Harris said, I have it on cassette, that Prince Emmanuel said that a one gonna come amongst us that can read the stars. I ain't gonna say nothing else. What I'm saying is this. I wouldn't repeat it. What I'm saying is this. So, yeah. So in the God house now at the time, I gotta say it because I want you to understand the thing good. I don't want to leave this conversation with anybody misunderstanding. So when I check out the God house now, remember I just go over here, I check out the God house. There was a radio in the God house and it was always on. At that time you had people like Priest Allen and Priest Dan. These were like the key God, royal guards. And wow, the radio was always on. I don't have a problem with the radio being on. I always have my radio on. But the radio being on, you hear all sorts of things coming from the radio that even in my house, even though the radio is on, when these things come on, I lock them off. There's certain commercials when they come on, I lock off my radio. I definitely don't listen to death announcement, So I said the radio playing here. I didn't tell nobody. I was just saying to myself, but look, the radio playing here. The radio playing. On today, it on tomorrow, it on the next day. You off Sabbath, you come back on Sunday. I know what I'm saying. The Bobo them listen to the news. When you listen news, and the man say, turn up the news, Bobo. Turn up the news. When you turn up the news, what you hear? Bam, 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 ding, 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 bam, 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 and the headlines today, bam, 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 ding, 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 ding. What do you think that music doing to you? What do you think that music doing to you? I'm not saying you're not supposed to listen to news. I'm not Mr. Overdread. Some of us think we're too dread. That's my point. Nobody would have listened to my cassette. Because we born reggae. But the radio always on. I'm telling you, I want you to understand. Because this is a serious thing we're dealing with. And comprehension. Now, the Black Christ himself, Prince Emmanuel, is a man that listens to his radio all the time. Jah must listen to his news. And he listens to hear what the newest song come out is. So we don't have to get so phobic. As if, it's reggae music, run. It's sick. Stop acting so. That's unnecessary. But what I would tell now, to the individuals that are looking on, it's this. You see, our elders, who want to hold on to the elders, is up to them. But listen, our elders, King Emmanuel Charles Edwards, and our elders, they were dealing with salvation. And when you talk about salvation, we mean salvation. So in the case of Prince Emmanuel, I will speak of now. When King Emmanuel say that no reggae play in the yard, or to be more specific, reggae is Satanism, whether you like it or not, because I don't care what nobody say when it comes to Prince Emmanuel, because I know a lot of you love and you're married to the reggae music. I ain't got no problem with what you're married to. But don't try to diss the Black Christ now because of what he utter. He's dealing with salvation. According to what one elder tell me, Prince Emmanuel said, he never turned left nor right in this firebed to retrieve his people. He never turned left nor right in this firebed to retrieve his people. We're talking about Christ. You agree or not? We're talking about Christ. So you don't think he understand the original sound? He give us Nyabingi music. That is the original sound. Everybody know that. The drum sound, the boom, The bass, the boom, the breath, the thunder. Boom, it's a breath. When you're in service and you're clapping and singing, when you get that bass, you should be breathing. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Boom. Exhale. The breath is the first sound. The heartbeat. 1, 2. I said the 1, 2. The heartbeat. 1, 2. I said the 1, 2. That's the heartbeat. The kete that goes with the heartbeat. That's your meditation. And if you notice, although the bass is the first sound in the bubble house, the 1, 2 is the first to play. And that's the second sound. The first sound is the bass, the original sound. Boom. 1. Boom. That's the sound the universe makes. 432. Boom. The second sound is the 1, 2. 1, 2. The heart. The third sound is your meditation. Lightning in the kete. But it's the second sound that play first. If you understand Daniel #1 band. Like as I said before, it is the second priest that rise the first hymn. If you understand the priesthood order. It is the second flag, the red, black, and green, that we rise first for a service. There's a science in the second. You don't hear what Priest Harry say? A man shall come that can read the stars. And some of you pretend you're the citizen. Don't feel no way. Don't feel no way. But sometimes you gotta make it clear. We don't respect people for who they are. We gotta just make it clear. Alright. So what I'm saying is this. The order that the Black Christ give us is the original order. There you have the original sound, the Nyabingi order. The 7 Psalms fire key order. It produces a specific frequency with nature. Your 2160. Your 720, your 432. That is what's being expressed in the Redeem music. The Redeem. The 1, 2 Nyabingi drum sound. Man, the Black Christ ain't got no time for no reggae music. If reggae is your thing, that's your thing. You can't be upset with the Black Christ. If he don't want no reggae around him, he ain't got no time for that. What are you talking about with the music frequency up of 440, racing up the heavens? I don't care if you're singing Sweep Over My Soul. We have to understand the difference. You see the Rastafari order. When the Rastafari rose in Bakawal, you see the order Emmanuel tried? Many of my brethren that are Nyabingi that don't know the history, they like to pull me. Priest, I like your vibes, but we need to come back together. You need to come to the original order when we all started. Emmanuel was with us. With us who? I older than you. What are you talking about? Emmanuel was with us. Who is it with us? You need to go and check the with us who King Emmanuel was with. Go and check the same Bongo Watu, although he has moved on. Go and check Mama Dean. Go and check them elders there. They will tell you what was going on when Emmanuel was with us. We used to keep Sabbath. The Bobo keep Sabbath. We used to wear white on the Sabbath. The Bobo wear white on the Sabbath. When we went in the tabernacle, we never used to smoke in the tabernacle. The Bobo don't smoke in the tabernacle. Bingy like the chalice in the tabernacle. I'm not upset, I'm not upset. I'm just telling you the difference. But when we were together, the things the Bobo do is what we were doing when we were together. So when you tell me we need to come back together, I'm just asking. Even Mama Dean say, oh, we need to start to sing them hymns from the Sankey again. Oh, we still doing that. We still doing that. We still doing that. So we need to stop them like a petty argument. Oh, we need to come back. Like if we're trying to pull somebody, pull your leg or or drop con, man dropping con. We need to come back together like how we were. Welcome. Welcome. You're welcome. That's what I'm saying. You understand? So it is clear that this is a redemption order. That's all. So if you are coming to this, and I have to make this clear, because as I said, I am Priest Isaac. I am Priest Kidemi Shalom Isaac. And I don't play no reggae music, number one. Because first of all, I don't play. I don't play. I have a specific work to do. I always say it and I say it again, I know who I am. I personally know who I am. There's a specific scripture in the Bible, where a man of God, listen to me good, a man of God, the prophet of God, the prophet of God went into the city, and the prophet of God was supposed to literally, take heal an individual that was sick. And the individual that was sick, after he was healed, the prophet of God was leaving the city. And while he was leaving the city, the prophet of God came upon the man of God. And the man of God said, oh, come with me. And he went with the man of God, and they ate some food and everything. And then after he ate, the prophet of God said, okay, I'm going home now. And the man of God said, no, you could stay with me. You know, I'll have the bed prepared for you. You could wash your feet, and I'll give your donkey some food. And tomorrow morning you could go. And the prophet of God said, well, I can't stay, because the man of God, God Almighty said that I must go. I can't stay here in this city. He said, all right, no problem. Fair enough, but God told me, this is the man of God now saying to the prophet of God, God told me that when you come, you should stay in the city. So the prophet said, yeah, you sure? He told me not to stay. And the man of God said, well, he told me to tell you to stay. And he said, all right, I will stay. So he stayed. And the morning he rose up, and when he left with his donkey, a lion met him and killed him. And when now the man of God who was home got the message that the prophet of God was killed by a lion, he went to bury him. And his servant asked him, well, man of God, what happened to the prophet of God? He said, my son, this is the prophet of God who disobeyed the word of the Lord. Huh? Disobeyed? But you were the one that told him that God told you that he must stay. Well, I just followed orders. But God didn't tell him that. God gave him his own personal orders, and he disobeyed the word of God. It's right in your Bible. It's right in your Bible. And the reason why I'm saying all of that in my conclusion is that I'm not afraid to tell anyone that I know who I am. And the more I live is the more I become more deep into who I am. Somebody once told me, oh, you're full of yourself. And I know some of you say that too. Of course, what do you mean? You wanted me to be half full? I'm full. Running over. Because I know who I am. And I tend to realize that a lot of people not aware of who they are. Not aware. Only when you say who you are, you hear people say, well, I know who I am. So who are you? I mean, I'm me. All right, nothing wrong. I'm me too. But can you connect yourself with the past, present, and future? All right. So I know who I am. And I've been given a specific mandate and a specific mission to fulfill. And that is the mission that I am on right here. So this is why I tell individuals I don't play music. Number one, I definitely don't play reggae. If you listen to anything I do, I express myself with what is necessary to express myself at the moment. Whether it be reggae, whether it be hip hop, whether it be R&B, Will it be jazz? Some of you so way off. I did a whole program on Michael Jackson. Somebody telling me, oh, you're playing Michael Jackson music now. So wait, how on earth you expect me to explain what I have to explain properly without quote unquote playing the music? Let's not overdo. Oh, come on, you've gone too far with that. Sometimes we're so dumb. Yeah? But as I said, it's the mission that I am on. I got a work to do. So I do my work. And I make it clear. Look at what we just did a while ago. The information that we just imparted. The original sound is the drum sound. And the drum sound, the 8 ohms, is the 432 life-giving frequency. Anything outside of the ancient music is a music that will kill. And I will repeat, the music on the news, the music on the documentaries, everybody watch movies. Everybody watch movies, that's my but reggae. And this is another thing now. Enough of them man that born in reggae, they listen reggae too, eh? Some of them sing it. So let's not get hypocritical. And if you're serious, you wouldn't be watching no movies. And to be straight, some of the movies you watch, I wouldn't even watch. Because in the movies, it's pure music. Boom, boom, boom. Bam, 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 bam. You don't think that affects you the same way as the so-called record music? The documentaries, it's the same thing again. So if you're that dread, get dread. You know? Bing, ding, dun, 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 dun. What's that? Oh, my phone is ringing. Them kind of ringtone you have on your phone. That's what I'm saying, my brothers and sisters. The reason why you see the ma'at behind I when I speak, because ma'at has to do with balance. Some of us, we can't balance. Even Prince Emmanuel, he balanced. You know, see the man entertain Capleton, and the man go out as a prophet. Never before nobody hit the reggae before Sizzler come, you know, with that conscious licking them down, bam, bam. Balance. I have the picture. I had a badge. Priest Morgan, Prince Emmanuel, and Capleton. It's called balance. But some of us, we ain't got no balance. So if you want to feed the youth, man, Prince Emmanuel say put the food where the youth them can get it. Some of us, we so dread that the youth them can't get a thing. Okay? Youths listen to me. Youths listen to me. So I don't intend to lead nobody astray. And I'm not no hypocrite. So I think it is necessary, it was necessary for me to do this specific presentation and answer the question the best way I know how to answer it. Not with no yes or no answer, but with scholarly explanation and a moral and a point. And the point is that the ancient frequency of the drum sound of the Nyabingi is the healing frequency that would redeem you. Your modern day music, whatever it may be, if you are serious about the salvation order, you got to imprint in your mind that because of the frequency alone, obviously some is worse than some, because heavy metal kill plants. So some is worse than some. But outside of the ancient science of music, anything else, and that nature water dropping and the willow tree, outside of that, you've gone into a frequency that will raise up your heavens without a doubt. That's just the truth. So you have to comprehend that and move through the earth properly. And that's all I would say. Holy Emmanuel High. Selassie, Jah, Rastafari. So give thanks. I think that is enough said. And of course, as I said, you know, anyone that you know, give thanks for your presence and feel free to subscribe to the Mystic Vibration radio program. And now, as I said, we're putting this on the YouTube, so feel free to thumbs up the video now. I know you have no reason to thumbs this down. Just thumbs up the video and let us all have a good time, you know. And in all honesty, man, come on, let us be clear. Even in the early days, man, you think, and even in this discussion, I think it's necessary. I could never forget Burning Spear. Burning Spear, Israel Vibration. In the early, man, when we were coming through, well, me personally, you know, these specific groups, individual, I always had a heart for Gregory Isaac, but that's on the next level. You know, in my rites of passage, they are imprinted in my rites of passage. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So you cannot, I cannot erase and act as if I totally forget when their inspiration held me up. So we gotta understand what we're doing. So if you don't want to deal with a certain, and it's not reggae, man, it's music. Check yourselves. You know, even the hip hop music. You see, I express hip hop music all the time. I'm well versed in it. KRS-One, Eric B. and Rakim, X-Clan. A lot of inspiration building us into who we are today. It's almost like you're forgetting your parents. Come on, man. Let's think clear as we move on, eh? And remember, we have youths that are looking up to us, so we teach them the right. You know? Holy Emmanuel I, Selassie I, Jah, Rastafari. So remember, if you want to subscribe specifically, what you gotta do? You gotta give us a call or WhatsApp us, area code 12687283162. Or you could definitely email us, Priest Isaac 27@gmail.com. Of course, as I said, give the video some thumbs up, subscribe to the YouTube channel as well, more information coming, and of course, don't forget our hike. Yeah, check this out. Rastafari live. Give thanks. The individuals now, you see the knights on the side of the steps, they align on the side of the steps, and Haile Selassie and the Queen's mother comes out. Now you will notice that they don't have on their hats. Is it because it's very windy? Nah, this is not how this goes at all, my brothers and sisters. This is ceremony, and this is an order. Only the women have on their hats. You can see the Queen and the Queen's mother with their hats. And looking good, you will see that obviously the real knights, the soldiers, them in the armored knights, I should say, in them old time Roman armored vibes, have on their headpiece. Now you will notice that as soon as Haile Selassie I puts on his headpiece, check it. It is only when Haile Selassie I put on his headpiece, you could see the guards in the back putting on their headpiece. Look at that. Nothing here is by mistake. This is not just happening by chance. The knights cannot put on their hats. Prince Charles doesn't put on his hat. In fact, it is when Prince Charles enters the buggy that you see Prince Charles put his hat on his head. And then they roll out. Now what is happening here? Greater than Solomon is here. You may not see that, but they understand what's going on. So this is why I'm saying that even from the time of the King Edward III, and that third is very mystic, King Edward and his son, the Black Prince, Prince Edwards, the Black Prince, Prince Edwards, the Prince of Wales, interesting language. And now the current Prince of Wales is Prince Charles. Prince Charles Edwards, Charles Edwards, the Black, wait. What is this? Don't play around.